meeting was provided and published in the Asbury Park Press on January 9, 2015. Copies of the agenda were provided to the newspapers, posted on public bulletin boards, and the Township website.
Thank you. At this time, please turn off your cell phones or silence them. And everyone, please rise for the presentation of colors by the Brick Township Police Department Honor Guard.
Roll call.
Remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence.
Thank you, Mr. President. Honor Guard, present the colors.
All uniformed personnel, attend, present arms. Order, arms.
Mayor, Council, would you join us up front for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Present arms.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order, arms.
Turn your colors.
Present arms. Order, arms. At ease. Please be seated.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Moore.
Here.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Here.
Councilwoman Lydecker.
Here.
Councilman Fosman.
Here.
Councilwoman Pontoriero. Vice President DeYoung.
Here.
President Mumolo.
Here.
Thank you.
I need approval of the minutes of the municipal officers.
Make a motion. Second.
Motion by Councilman Fosman, second by Councilman Moore.
Councilman Moore.
Yes.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lydecker.
Yes.
Councilman Fosman.
Yes.
Vice President DeYoung.
Yes.
President Mumolo.
Yes.
Thank you.
A motion and a second to approve the minutes of the February 3rd, 2015 meeting.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Lydecker, second by Councilman Fosman.
Councilman Moore.
Yes.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Yes.
Councilman Lydecker.
Yes.
Councilwoman, sorry. Councilman Fosman.
Yes.
Vice President DeYoung.
Yes.
President Mumolo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Now, we have some student of the months that are here, students. Front row, I guess, somebody anyone from Brick Memorial High School? Aha. I know with the snow day, we're short a few people. How are you? I'll meet you. We are here once again to recognize January Students of the Month from the from Brick Memorial High School and Brick Township High School. We are recognizing their dedication to their studies and their school and community, as well as acknowledgement of their positive attitudes, their academic skills, and their discipline they have installed into their studies. This goes to Carolyn Colbuz. The following students are from Brick Memorial are not present. Brian Gerard, Jordan Pfister, Natalie Magleski, Jonathan Stampler, Sarah Shibla, Cassidy DeAndra, and Stephen Shockett. Following students, students of the month from Brick Township High School. We have Carla Colabella, Nicole Troyer, Dennis McWeeny, and Nicholas Pollara. This week is Brick Township Police Appreciation Week. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. President. This idea came to me over the last few months. We know in the fall and winter, from probably October-ish of 2014 through as recently as January 2015, it seems that police officers around the country, to the state to our north, and then sometimes here in state, were getting pretty much getting beat up by the media. And looking over the Christmas break and into January, it was upsetting me because all police officers were getting this bad media going towards them, and I knew for sure that most police officers, and definitely all of our police officers here in Brick, did not deserve that type of reputation, and not that it was being made of any allegations here in Brick, but just against law enforcement in general. So my idea was to have our own, Brick Police Appreciation Week. I didn't want to do it in conjunction with any national movement that's made, because I think you, ladies and gentlemen of our police force, deserve to have your own week, not something lumped in with the rest of the country. So that's why we picked this particular date, this particular week, February 15th through February 21st. We wanted to have an opportunity to be able to advertise it so that residents and town hall and the town in general could put out blue ribbons or put up blue lights in their outdoor lights and at their houses and around town hall. And I really think that all of you deserve it, and that's why we wanted to have this Police Appreciation Week, because you do so much for our town and making our town so much better than it would be without you. The DARE program is unbelievable. That's our 5th grade students here in town, every single one of them, whether it's all of our public schools or over at St. Dominic's as well. Officer John and Officer Tara teach those kids at that age to make right choices, so that it'll affect our town in the future, so that when they become a little bit older or even much older, they have the knowledge and the resources in order to make better decisions, in order to keep our town safer. Our SET team, Special Enforcement Team, is very important to our town, that they help us do some of the most important undercover things in town. The Lead and Seed program, which is just started, it touches our 6th, 7th, 8th graders, which is another vulnerable group, and it's great to see an expansion of our DARE program to move up into older kids' ages. And I just want to give a few examples that kind of goes across the board of what our police officers do here for all of our residents in Brick. And I get these commendations. The police chief does different commendations for different officers, and it ranges from a number of different things. So when I get these, I always, of course I read every single one of them, but it just shows what a vast town we have and vast problems we have, but also how great our police officers are. Some of the people who wrote thank you notes were people who were locked out of their car. A woman was locked out of her car in ShopRite, and the officer came and was able to get her back into her car. And I'm not going to mention the officers' names. The reason why, because I don't want to single out specific officers. I want to talk about our force in general and what great people we have as part of the force. There was another example. A husband was having a heart attack, and a woman, the police officer went in along with our EMS, and the woman decided to write a thank you note saying how efficient the police officer was in the EMS program. There were 4 kids who stole a golf cart. They left school early. They were driving the golf cart around, and our police officers were able to apprehend those kids. There was a victim of a car accident on Princeton Avenue. A drunk driver sideswiped his car, and he said how great our police officers were in handling the matter and showing compassion to him as being a victim in a car accident. There was an arrest of 3 people with a seizure of $17,000 in cash, hundreds of prescription pills, seizure of cars, and drug paraphernalia. There was an incident on Princeton Avenue with paintballs that the officer went out to investigate it, and he actually cleaned the paintball residue from the house. There was a famous case that we all know of. An officer jumped into freezing cold river at Windward Beach and saved a woman's life. There was examples of placing photos on social media, and one of those examples kept 4 guns off the streets because I guess the people who stole those guns, they knew the police were hunting them down, so they threw the guns into the Passaic River, I believe, into a river somewhere up north. There was a credit card theft at Costco, which was only for a $3,500 TV. When I say only, that's a big deal. But what happened is the 2 people who our police caught that actually uncovered $500,000 worth of credit card fraud that those 2 people did. So our police force here in Brick, with a $3,500 case, broke open a $500,000 case that was statewide. One of the largest arrest of 20, our police officer was very much involved with the arrest of 22 people. We were able to seize 7 cars, 3 illegal handguns, $142,000 worth of cash, 3 kilograms of heroin, 2 kilograms of cocaine, and those drugs had over $1 million worth of value. So our police officers were part of busting up one of the biggest drug rings around, keeping all those drugs off our streets and keeping our children and families safe. And I say that one second to last because obviously that is a very, very large case. But the one I'm going to save for last is an officer who stopped his car over at Windward Beach, and he was talking to kids, and he showed the kids how the lights and siren work on the car. And that just shows you just the full realm of what our police officers do here in town. They keep us safe on a daily basis. They keep our pocketbooks safe, our credit cards safe. They keep our families safe. They keep drugs off the street. They keep guns off the street. And they just do an overall great job. And I do have a proclamation. There are few public service jobs that are as integral to the quality of life of a community as the job of a police officer. Police officers perform many vital duties, including enforcing the law, responding to emergencies and disasters, investigating crimes, developing solutions to quality of life issues, testifying in court, providing security, and much more. Police officers often have to put themselves in harm's way to conduct their duties and to help protect civilians. The people of the Township of Brick are fortunate to have had the men and women of the Brick Township Police Department protecting us since 1972. Today, the Brick Township Police Department consists of 129 sworn members who, under the leadership of Police Chief Rick Berquist, work every day of the year to keep Brick Township safe and make our hometown one of the best in New Jersey to live, work, and raise a family. For all these reasons, I, John G. Ducey, the mayor of the Township of Brick in the County of Ocean in the state of New Jersey, do hereby proclaim the week of Sunday, February 15th, 2015 through Saturday, February 21st, 2015 to be Brick Police Appreciation Week. And I want to remind all residents, please put up your blue ribbons and your blue lights to show our support for our Brick Township Police and what a great job they do each and every day of the year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. The council would also like to commend the police department. The Brick Township Police Department is one of, if not the best law enforcement agencies in the state of New Jersey. Since its founding in 1972, the men and women of Brick Township Police Department have worked tirelessly to make our community one of the safest ones in New Jersey. And today, 129 members of the Brick Township Police Department continue to work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, protecting our community and providing all manners of emergency response to people in need. And in addition to their on-duty efforts, the members of Brick Township Police Department and the Brick PBA Local 230 contribute heavily to the community, support numerous civic and charitable causes and organizations, and assist families in need. Therefore, there be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Brick, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey as follows. We join Mayor John G. Ducey in celebrating the week, February 15th, 2015 through February 21st, 2015, as Brick Police Appreciation Week. And we extend our most heartfelt and sincere thanks and appreciation to Chief Rick Burquest and the members of the Brick Township Police Department for their dedication and exemplary service. And we urge all citizens to join us in showing our appreciation to the Brick Township Police Department. Thank you.
And myself and the council wanted to make one other announcement, since there are so many police officers here tonight, that part of our 2015 capital program will include improvements to the police department and the detective bureau and the, the entire, I'm sure everybody's seen the plans, the plans to redo the police department and bring it up to proper standards, which go along with being such a great police department. We want to have you guys in the right facility. All right.
Thank you very much, Mayor. I don't think I could have said it better. I probably have the best crew of police officers and civilian staff anywhere, certainly better than any place in this state, so I'd like to give the men and women of this department a round of applause. Mayor, your efforts are contagious. We're already seeing blue ribbons around the township, and I got a call today from the staff at Ocean Medical Center. Apparently one of the walls on the outside of the building are illuminated in blue light, and there are blue ribbons throughout the emergency department over there. So I thank you very much for that recognition. And I think it's important for me to point out that since I started here and through my whole 34 years here, I have always known how fortunate I was to work for a community that supported its police department as much as the people in Brick. I'll never forget that. I know that the men and women who go on the road every day, they see that, they recognize that, and they appreciate that, and I thank everyone. Thank you very much.
Next up, we have Mr. Frank Scarantino, our Ocean County engineer.
Mr. President,
Oh,
Mayor Ducey.
Take a 2-minute break.
you want to take a, okay, let's take a few-minute break. Thank you. Heather, Council, if you'd like, we could go down the first row this way. Mr. Scaratino could just show everyone, and we can actually see what they want, if you want.
Councilman Foster,
We're going to go down, I was going to go down.
We love signs at this council.
Phone's not coming back on.
What's that now? Oh, are we all going down there? We're going down there.
Goddamn phone's not coming on.
Good evening. That sound okay? Yeah. I'm Frank Scarantino. I'm the county engineer, and I'm here with John Ernst, who is the director of engineering for Ocean County. We're here today at the invitation of the mayor and council to provide a little bit of update and insight into the Garden State Parkway Interchange 91 project. I've been here so many times, but that's been over a period of almost 9 years. That's when we first started this project, and many of the people here today really didn't see any of those presentations. It's a $23 million construction project. It barely touches the mainline parkway. The mainline parkway is the widening project that you're all familiar with that's been going on for almost 2 years now. Our project was designed to eliminate all of the conflicts on Burnt Tavern Road. I have 2 charts down below, and they highlight all of the failures in the existing configuration. Many of what we call the level of service of the moves and the intersections are E and F. Those are basically failures. We designed for a level of service D as the minimum criteria these days. What does that represent? It represents a delay of 65 to 80 seconds. What does that mean? That means when you pull up to an intersection, you're not going to get through it. You're going to wait for at least 1 cycle when the light changes again. Many of the moves in this existing condition have delays of 150 to 250 seconds. It means you're sitting there through 3 or 4 or 5 cycles before you're able to get through that intersection. In the after condition, and I want to point out we ran all these analyses into the year 2030. When we started, that was 25 years into the future. Now it's 15 years into the future. But we designed to attain a minimum level of service D overall in the year 2030. And we have, as you can see, improved those moves from F to B or F to D at a very minimum. There are 2 things that are important about that. The first is that we've reconfigured everything to make it easier for you to access or get off the parkway in both directions from just about any direction you can think of. This project supplies all of the missing moves. I'm going to start in what is the northwest quadrant. It's actually the quadrant of least impact. We are adding a new southbound on move. These darker orange highlighted areas are all new construction. The yellow represents just overlays of existing roadway. And we're slightly widening the end of the existing southbound exit for a 2-lane through move now. Moving along into the southwest quadrant, we're physically extending Herborn Avenue. And with that, we're making the 1 short stretch of Burnt Tavern Road 1 way. What does that do? Herborn traffic, which had an impossibly heavy left turn, now goes straight through, has a right turn phase and a free right to go south on Burnt Tavern. Or it has a new southbound entrance right onto the parkway. And that southbound on-ramp also accommodates bus traffic, and there is a new service and an access through the park and ride, Dorado Park and Ride. Not Dorado Shopping Center, Dorado Park and Ride. Moving into the southwest quadrant, Burrsville Road, we have basically built on-off ramps from northbound, so that now there'll be a new signalized intersection, and you can actually physically get off northbound there and continue south if you like, or north. And you can also get on northbound from there. A little added feature is if you're coming now east on Burnt Tavern, because you came from Herborn, you can directly go on and catch northbound through that same jug handle. And then the last phase of, doesn't look like a lot, but it does do a lot because it pulled all the moves off Burnt Tavern, is we've removed the existing northbound entrance ramp and pulled it further south. So now that traffic that wants to get on from southbound Lanes Mills doesn't have to go to Burnt Tavern. They can turn and get on the new ramp. Traffic coming from Burrsville can get on if it wants, although you could have gotten in over here. Traffic heading west on Burnt Tavern Road now goes through. There's a new signal, but it's coordinated phased, and you don't have to stay on Burnt Tavern. You go directly and into this new ramp. Altogether, these 4 quadrants combine to basically eliminate all the tie-ups on Burnt Tavern Road and provide access to and from the county roads, basically to North and South Parkway. Just pretty much any move you can think of, you can now make fairly easy. And by the way, this looks like it's a longer move coming around like that. It's actually only about 13 seconds. And before, this was a level of service F, you couldn't get through here in less than 80 seconds, and that was a good day. So all in all, this project started out under federal funding. It was a concept that was approved. It passed through many tests. One feature I do note, there is a noise wall. It is going here on Cherrywood Farms. It's on Turnpike property. It is the one area that was studied that met federal and Turnpike criteria and required a noise wall. So it is a part of the contract. I say this project started out federal because it's no longer a federally funded project. Several years ago, the funding sources were exchanged. This is now a state-funded project. But that said, it went through the full federal process and met all their tests for every imaginable impact that you can think of. We did not have to do any IES, but we did do complete standalone 4F statements and Section 106 studies. Noise studies were done, every aspect of environmental studies was done. It was the wetlands, riparian zones, flood hazard. We have 7 water features on the project. They are designed for water quality and, in the case of these 2 basins, flood water management. Most of these features are just for water quality. The actual amount of new impervious coverage is not that great. There's a lot of reconfiguration going on. We are not building the bridge. That's part of the Turnpike project. The Turnpike owns all the bridges over the Parkway. And we are not involved with the orange widening that you see on the Turnpike property. These concepts that you see here were developed before that project ever started. And as that project evolved and we had to adjust the alignments of our ramps, those portions of widening were absorbed into the Parkway project. So that's the overview of what the project hopes to accomplish, how we hope to accomplish it, and what the project is actually costing. We just got started on October 27th. I'm going to turn the mic over to John Ernst now. John's going to get into the scheduling of the project.
Good evening. As Frank indicated, this project started in October of this past year, and it has 850 days duration, which will bring it into February of 2017. It's broken up into basically three stages. The first stage is primarily all of the areas, the new roadways that are in orange, which would be the loop ramp, the extension of Herborn, the southbound entrance, the northbound exit and entrance loops, and the new northbound entrance. Excluded from that would be the entrance off of Burnt Tavern Road. We are waiting for Santander to relocate out of that location, and they're very close to being ready to relocate. And once they relocate to this location in the along Burrsville and Burnt Tavern Road, these other ramps will be constructed. That first phase is intended to be about 280 days, which gets us into the end of July. Beyond that, the second phase would be to do the work on the eastern side of the road, on the eastern side of the parkway, primarily to fill in the missing moves that are there and complete those moves, remove some of the ramping. And that is intended to be about 350 days, which would take us through July 2016. And then the third stage, which would be to shift lanes around as you need to accommodate the utility relocations that are ongoing, as well as for replacement of the water lines. There are some water lines that need to be replaced, and that's been incorporated into this project. Currently, there are utility relocations going on for the electric, telephone, and gas, and you'll see all of that going on. And the third stage would be the last 220 days. So basically, a little bit more than 2 years from today, this project should be complete.
I just want to point out that we have some photos here on one of the exhibits that we'll be happy to leave with you. All of the clearing for this complex is finished. The biggest impacts that you'll see are for the new southbound on-ramp in the northwest quadrant and for Herborn Avenue Extension. There's a considerable amount of clearing that went on for those two areas, but we are actually finished. In most of the other cases, the clearing that was accomplished was to accommodate utility relocations. There's a substantial amount of utility relocation. If you're thinking about what they're going to do for 850 days, and as time goes by, you're going to say, I don't see them doing anything. Well, it's going to be all those utilities. We're adding all new drainage. Your own Brick MUA came to us. There's $2 million worth of water main replacement that has been added into the project. It's not relocation. They were the old asbestos concrete pipes, and they were failing, and they needed to be replaced. That was made part of the project. As John stated, there's a New Jersey Natural Gas, there's JCP&L overhead, there's Verizon, there's cable. All these utilities need to be relocated. We meet monthly to coordinate. It's that intense. We have been meeting with them for several years, planning the start of construction. So when you get complaints that we're not doing anything, just keep in mind that you're just not really seeing it, and it will come together. Fortunately, a lot of the construction that you see is off-road. All those new segments don't exist today, so they're really not impacting traffic that much, and that will make the ongoing work out there a little bit easier to tolerate. That said, we are having lots of traffic staging out there. That's to accommodate the utility relocations that are going on. Once we get past that, and I think most of that work is scheduled to be done in about a year, you'll see that the construction accelerates rapidly. So that's all we have. Be happy to answer any questions.
Anyone has any questions concerning it?
I have one. The noise wall there, since there's no, you can't do a study on traffic or anything. This noise wall right here, there was no study on any sound or anything. Is it just determined by the distance to the properties? Is that how that was put in place there? I'm just curious.
We did a study. We had a study. We looked at 3 locations. There was originally another noise wall that was proposed along Burrsville Road. It was eliminated. There was initial looking at one for Evergreen Woods. It was not warranted. That was the first to go. We actually carried the 2 noise walls for a considerable portion of the design project, and then finally, everybody of authority above the county, we were just a sponsor here, the Turnpike Authority, the federal government, the New Jersey Department of Transportation, all went through our reports and said that that wall was not warranted, and it was deleted from the project. The Cherrywood Farms was warranted. When you're moving traffic closer to a residential property, it has to be analyzed. And if you have an impact to that property, and there are a number of ways to measure that. The first is a percentage increase, and the other is whether it rises over a certain amount of decibels. So if you have an impact, you then throw the wall in, and they analyze whether or not the wall will mitigate it. And then, if it does mitigate it, there's a value engineering that's applied to it. We went through all those steps with our study. The study was redone several times because, as I said, the Turnpike Authority wanted to widen the shoulders, and that affected our ramp locations, so we had to redo our study. So we went through 2 iterations. In the end, we came away with just the one wall at Cherrywood Estates.
So I was just curious, how would the study, you don't have the load in here, you don't have anything, so how would a sound study be done? Sound there?
Well, we moved the ramp from here to here.
Yeah, but how would you know what decibels that's going to bring when traffic goes on?
We hired Paul Carpenter Associates. They're a very renowned expert firm. I didn't do the study. I just read it.
Just a couple of questions. What is that ramp?
That's if you're coming on Plains Mills Road. Make that loop.
Are you still going to be able to make a turn here?
Full movement here.
So you can go straight and you can still make a right here.
Yes.
But you think somebody will go here and make a left?
Well, we're thinking that people coming out of the park might.
Okay. They can also make that move, right?
That's not right.
Okay, it's perfect. No problem. And then the other question is up here, the Herborn extension. There's a back of a Wawa that used to be blocked by a lot of trees. Is there going to be reforestation of that area there so that the homes over here that used to look at trees aren't going to look at the back of a Wawa?
Yes, that property actually belonged to Wawa, and we acquired it from them. There is a water quality feature in there. It's called a bioretention basin. There is not a set plan. There is a schedule of plantings. There are 3 types of plants that will be installed there, shrubs, plants, and then we have a substantial quantity of 6 to 7 foot tall conifer trees that are in the contract. They're if and where at our discretion. And I've already spoken with one resident, and I've made him aware that the purpose of those quantities is to create screening where we've done clearing. So we will be planting there. She was, ladies first.
What about screening and distribution for evergreen woods that's affected by all these projects, even though they artificially are separate, they're in the same area as evergreen? 2005, study was done and said that we did not qualify. However, the basin was chosen as an median. We are exposed to extensive traffic and also fumes. And that 2005 study said that we didn't qualify, but at that time, everything wasn't cut down. Everything is cut down now, and more people, the rest of the community is affected by that, and no one is doing anything for us.
Oh,
We have been bullied, and we don't want to hear about the road's not moving any closer, that the shoulder is not part of the road, because it is. That shoulder, what the highway that's there now, was Even, so a study was done over here, and they only considered the people in this area, and they said that the only reason that we didn't get a wall was because not enough people were affected. I think it was like $50,000 per home, and they only accounted these people. But now all the shoulder is gone because of clearing zone and the median and the basin, which is right over here. So we're getting both from the widening and this, okay? So we do qualify. The road was already there. It's part of the shoulder. The shoulder was made into the highway before they took the project over. So we want to know, we're tired of people, we're tired of hand-wringing, we want something done here.
Okay.
So you have to talk to the Turnpike Authority, and you guys have to get together. You can't say, this isn't our project and this isn't our project.
Well,
It's in the same area.
your association invited me, and I came to your clubhouse, and I talked about this project. I know that unfortunately the Turnpike Authority declined going at that time. I have been to the Turnpike Authority with your representatives and with the township.
Did you discuss a wall?
It was discussed, but those decisions are up to the Turnpike Authority. I have no jurisdiction or contractual involvement in this area.
Who decided that the overpass stopped right here? That project ended here, and it wasn't, we're actually the exit that feeds into this road. Why aren't we part of that project? Who decided on this?
Well, I'm not sure I understand the
Okay,
question.
We're the road, okay, we're right next to this road that feeds into your project here.
Correct.
Why is it cut off right here, right at the end, conveniently, at the end of Evergreen Woods? Why, if we feed into here, why aren't we part of that? Who decided these artificial?
There was no reason to do work here. This was designed to accommodate 2 lanes to go forward. There are discrete rules under a national code, which is called ASHTO, as to how you provide that lane division. And that's the length that we came up with.
With respect, I understand that, but the Turnpike Authority said that's these projects and they can bypass.
Turnpike Authority was a participant. The county was the sponsor of
So
the
who
interchange
decided
project.
that we weren't gonna be affected by any of this? That we weren't the feeder road and that everything is artificial? Who decided that? Everybody said, okay, this is us, and this is us. But you have to understand that we're right here. This is where this is. This is in the winding. We're in the middle of everything, and yet everybody could look out the window and see that we're affected by all of this.
I understand your passion, I really do. The short answer is that the county and the town will continue to advocate for you, but we are not in control of that area.
So you have no control over anything the Turnpike Authority, they decided where this was, how this was gonna be laid out?
That's their right of way, right there. They own all this land.
Okay, so we're still affected by all of this.
The ramp didn't move.
But the shoulder was part of the highway. You understand? It's part of the highway.
But not part of our project.
So everybody's gonna remain separate on this, and everybody's gonna keep wringing their hands and doing nothing. This is what we have to put up, this is what we have to live with. Pretty much that's it, right?
I don't have anything more to add to that. Yeah?
John Sluka, 950 Sylvia Court. There's a lot going on here. The only problem, besides 15 other problems, the one problem is, with all this going on, the removal of all these trees in here, your study that was done before those trees were removed, tell me how that impacts positively our children of Brick Township. How is their health factor going to be better without a wall? Without having walls put in or something to block the pollution, the soot, and everything else. If you go on the Parkway today, you could see the soot on the bottom of those little ramps they have. So obviously that soot's getting into children's lungs, and you did your survey well before they decided to take out that center divider. You know, the hundreds of trees, and which in total, 100 every few feet becomes millions. So how are we impacting our children? They're not getting sleep at night, some of them. Some of them are breathing that air every day. Our seniors are breathing the air every day, not only in Evergreen Woods, but down in here. The senior village is down in here. Those extra things, without a wall, you can maybe not hear it, but you got to be able to taste it some days. And if you come by there and stay there for a day, and you'll go, I wonder what that is. It's not the sun. It's the soot from 150,000 cars and trucks coming this way and 150,000 trucks and cars coming that way, according to the turnpike. That's their rules. And that's what they said. And above 105 on the exit, what do we have? No trucks allowed. But we have trucks allowed. So how do we make up for the trucks being allowed? I'm not saying get rid of the trucks. Do something to stop that from happening. Thank you.
Now, the exit consists of a deceleration lane, a toll booth, and the exit lanes. Evergreen Woods is entirely along the deceleration lane for the exit. Who segmented it? Who said that this exit was going to be segmented in such a way that Evergreen Woods would not qualify for a sound barrier? According to your sound study that you supplied me, Evergreen Woods, you said it was going to be 1,389 feet long, the sound barrier. But you only had a small portion. How can the sound barrier be 1,389 feet long? That would extend from your project northward into the turnpike, into the Garden State Parkway project. What I'm saying is these projects are interrelated. They're one project. And they were segmented to get around putting a sound wall at Evergreen Woods. And any excuse was used so we wouldn't get one. You found an unnamed tributary. Little tiny tributary, I guess. I don't know. I haven't been able to find out. You know, the sound wall's 1,400 feet long, that you said. 1,400 feet long. The Delaware River is only 600 feet wide. Where's the rest of my sound wall? Nothing. You've segmented these projects in such a way that we wouldn't qualify. We don't get tree grant money, we don't get a sound wall, we don't get anything. Yet you say Ocean County is doing something for me, for Evergreen Woods. I don't see it. I see $500,000 of tree grant money going to a park in Brick Township, a dog park as well. Where's our remediation? Nothing?
Well, first of all, just for the record, I didn't author the report. So it was Paul Carpenter Associates that had the studies on the wall and said those things. Secondly, as I stated, this project started 9 years ago, before the Parkway even conceived of doing their shoulder widening project. And I know I have read not one but 2 letters from Federal Highway in response to your attorneys that said that this project has independent utility. It was conceived before their project, and it has its own merits and it does its own improvements. The two are not combinable. So.
That's not true. Because part of your project is to alleviate the backup on the Parkway through lanes. Is that correct?
It was actually designed to eliminate congestion on the county roads.
And on the Parkway through lanes.
It does accomplish that as well, yes.
They're interrelated. They should not have been segmented.
Well,
Actually, one more question, just traffic for kids. The school, that's shot down there. Am I doing it? Here's what my one concern was also. Back in here, this thing here, how many kids walk to school or come by bus across here? Going to Lanes Mill School and the high school, plus they come back the other way. So a lot of these kids, and that new light, that new entrance is obviously gonna have people rushing to get onto the parkway. And, and then just like I know, I always say, yeah, I go to speed limit too. The chief is here, you know. But you don't think people are gonna try to make that light when the buses are coming through, or children are walking, or new drivers, especially a lot of new drivers, now we're gonna come through here? It sounds good in little pieces, but when you put the whole thing together, it really hurts a lot of our children. And whether it's the pollution, whether it's the noise, whether it's the traffic congestion, and that's really where it comes down to me. Like I said, I tell them all the time, I'm old enough, a few more years, it ain't gonna matter. But the children are gonna be impacted for the rest of their lives.
Well, I can't speak for people who don't drive properly, but the signal has been designed with a full pedestrian phase and pedestrian signals. So it will accommodate pedestrian traffic easily. Anybody who obeys the law, there should be no problem with children crossing the street. You won't need one. Only if people are driving illegally and doing the wrong things.
Seriously, go outside here. The speed limit out.
Thank you. Any other questions concerning county portion?
My question a little easier. Are you involved with Route 70 and Route 528 also? And if so, what can you tell us just about the completion of those segments?
The county was involved several years back. We actually sponsored that project and designed it. The deal was we did a preliminary design and got the permits. We turned the project over to the Parkway, who did the final design, and they're building it. I'm not aware of their construction schedules, but we can reach out to Turnpike construction managers and find out what those schedules are.
I saw an article in the Township Times that said Route 70 was going to be complete in 8 months. I'm just wondering if you agree with that.
I believe that's approximately correct, yes, because the county is cost sharing on a number of bridges, and that's about when the money comes due.
It is one of those places where people like me say, don't look like they're doing anything.
There's a lot going on, though.
Real quick, I got to take it down. This is a very big problem area right here, this jug handle. Because what happens is you'll get in here and get jammed up because you got all this traffic coming down Burrsville, and you got to get over quick because you're going to be, if you don't get over, you're going to end up in another jug handle. Was there any consideration, are they widening any of this to alleviate some of this issue in that particular jug?
No, our study indicates that the use of that jug handle is substantially diminished by pulling the traffic away from here and letting them go in directly here and not go through this intersection. But we left it because we would have done damages to the businesses that are there.
Yeah, I know you got it.
Yeah.
Pretty restricted.
But otherwise, we would have taken it out.
Thank you. Anyone else? Sir?
I just want to take a look at this here. Coming across from Herborn, how many feet is this we're looking at? So how many cars are you estimating are being backed up in here? Okay, so all right, so coming out, we have the option of going straight across, or you're just making left and right turns here. Okay, so then coming out of Wawa, are you going to be making left and right turns out that exit? Okay, so there'll be a right turn only? And then this will be the one-way coming out, so it'll make a left turn, right turn only through here. So where's the traffic come out of here? Left only? So we'll have a turn here. We'll have the cars coming through here. And are these lights all going to be timed together or separately? Because they're all coordinated. So with traffic that pulls through here gets stopped here.
No, there's no stop here.
This is going to be free.
This is only one way between here now, so there's traffic all the time.
sat in this traffic for 30 to 45 minutes trying to get through that intersection. That'll be interesting. Yeah, that's gonna, and then no retaining wall or anything back here for residents in that area, other than trees? So no sound wall, no environmental, nothing for them. And then, so back to the condos, they really have nothing on that side either. And then what about the quality of life for people on this side of Burnsville Road? Anything to reduce noise or sound or additional trees, bushes, shrubs?
Well, county's always willing to put extra trees. That's that we have marsh pines and then we're directing trees plant.
Cherry Farm's gonna have a wall.
Yes, because their residents are extremely close.
Okay, so they're residential, these aren't rentals? Okay. All right, I was just curious on a couple of things, that's all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
You have to leave an exhibit?
Okay.
If you so desire.
Thank you very much. Council, back to the chairs.
Still walk to the wrong chair.
I'm just going to take it. Move on to the consent agenda. Madam Clerk.
All matters listed under item consent agenda will be enacted by one motion in the form listed below. If discussion is desired on any item, this item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately.
Thank you. Resolution 4-6 is going to be pulled. The council members and myself had some additional questions, so we're not going to be reviewing that this evening. I'm going to start with Resolution 4-1. Recognize the Township, Brick Township Appreciation Week. As we discussed earlier, the police department has worked in what can be considered challenging at best physical conditions. They have not upgraded their downstairs working space since the building was constructed. That's what the mayor had gone over, and we're looking forward to improving their facilities for that. Resolution 4-2. Mayor, did you want to elaborate a little more on that, or you kind of covered that in your comments? Thank you. Recognize Patrolman of the Year Award. The PBA Local 230 has named Brick Township Officer Richard Crimmy, badge number 232, as Officer of the Year. Congratulated to him. Officer Crimmy has been dedicated member of Brick Township Police Department since December 2006. As a result of his dedication and hard work, his productive 2014 has included 507 motor vehicle stops, 389 summonses, and responded to 1,787 calls of service and made 88 arrests. Great job, thank you. Resolution 4-3, recognize Lieutenant Thomas McNillis Award recipient. The PBA Local 230 has named Detective Jason Shepard as recipient of the year. He has been a dedicated member of Brick Township Police Department since 1997. He has served 13 years as part of the Brick Township Drug Enforcement Unit. Congratulations. Resolution 4-4, authorize amendment to temporary budget. The resolution is needed based on our, on what is beginning, let me start that. The resolution is needed based on what is being ordered by departments or a timing of those orders. The township from time to time has put money into departments' accounts to avoid any over expenditures of the line items in the 2015 budget. The township starts out with a budget of 26.25%, which this limit is set by budget law, and each line item, which is theory will hold us until the budget is adopted in its regular cycle. The cycle has been extended for another month, so we have to keep adjusting these figures. 4.5, authorize change order Route 70 eastbound reconstruction. This resolution approves the change order increasing the contract issues for Black Rock Enterprises by $83,067.92. This contract is part of a New Jersey DOT, Department of Transportation, municipal aid grant applied for by the township. The resolution approves the change order increasing the contract issued to Black Rock Industries for $83,067.92. I'd like to ask our business, do you have any questions
I
on
do.
this?
I have a question on this. What was the cause of this change order? And do we have to pay the $83,000 of this?
The cause of the change order was twofold. We took on this project, the township submitted a municipal aid grant application to do this roadway, and there were two construction-related issues that occurred on site. One relating to an underground pipe that needed to be replaced, and the second was the need for additional underground pavement to basically shore up the road. That's where this change order comes from. Initially, when these things were determined in the field, the DOT indicated that they would not reimburse it for us, that the contract specifically says things that come up during construction are your responsibility. But the mayor went out to Trenton and spoke with Commissioner Jamie Foxx, who illustrated that that was extreme inequity, and they have since agreed to reimburse us for this at contract closeout. So I'm delighted to say we'll be reimbursed, and the roadway will be improved as it needs to be.
Very good. Thank you. Okay. Resolution 4.7, authorize rejection of bids and rebid improvements of Colorado Park. Last week, we received bids on plans for improvements to Colorado Park. At this point, we can do one of two things: award the contract to the lowest bidder at $1.3 million, or take another look at the design and determine what amenities or design components we can change to cut back on the costs and to complete the project at a more economical price. Our Recreation Committee feels design changes can be done and will save money. A meeting was held earlier today with the project designer engineer, and revised plans are in progress. Resolution 4.8, authorize amendment to shared services with BTMUA GIS service. The township has a shared service agreement in place with the MUA for the GIS, with the Geographic Information Service. The agreement we have in place, which we had since 2013, includes a specific list of GIS tasks provided. We are now including two tasks to the attachment outlined in the original scope of work: fast-track government solution support and police dispatch system. Updating the task list is important so that we can appropriately break out the costs when providing or receiving these services. GIS technicians and their software and equipment used is specialized, and this shared service agreement benefits both the township and the MUA. Resolution 4.9, this is to authorize a special events permit for St. Paul's Church 5K run. St. Paul's United Methodist Church has requested a special events permit for a 5K race on May 9th. Resolution 410A, inspection fund release for Michael Mara, Inc., off Route 70. This resolution releases $1,078.55 remaining in the engineer inspection fund from Michael Mara, Inc. for Costco gas tank upgrade on Route 70. Resolution 411A. This is tax collector cancellation of tax balances $5 and under. Resolution 411B. This is the cancellation of tax credits $5 and under. And we have resolution 412. Resolution 412 is to rescind contract and award janitorial services. On January 20th, 2015, we awarded the contract to Integrity Facility Service, 76 Romano Drive, Dumont, New Jersey. And Integrity Facility has failed to submit a signed contract and performance bond as required pursuant to NJSA 40A:11-21, and has recommended that the person engaged to rescind the contract awarded to Integrity Facility and awarded the bid to the next lowest responsible bidder, being full compliance with the bid specifications, which is One Total Cleaning Services, LLC, 130 Garfield Avenue, Plainfield, New Jersey. The bid is for two one-year contracts commencing February 23rd, 2015, at a rate not to exceed $70,295.82 per contract year. End of the consent agenda. Call for motion in a second.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Zapsik. Second by Vice President DeYoung. Open to the public. Questions on the resolution? Seeing none, close to the public. Roll call, please.
Councilman Moore?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zapsik?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lydecker?
Yes.
Councilman Fosman?
Abstain on 4-8 and yes to the rest.
Vice President DeYoung?
Yes.
President Momolo?
Yes.
Thank you.
Bill Resolution Computer 2015.
Be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Brick that the following bills be paid and that the mayor and clerk be and are hereby authorized to draw orders on the treasurer for the amounts of the same. Computer bill resolution in the amount of $965,711.20.
Any questions from the council? No one? I have a question. I had a question on Jersey Shore Animal Shelter. We reimbursed them for something, that was between our contract?
The contract with Jersey Shore expired. It was before the expiration of that and the start of our new
It's
contract.
$581.38. What was that for?
That was for treatment of a stray cat.
One cat?
One cat, yes,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you. Any other questions by any council members? No? Can I get a motion and a second, please?
Take a motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Fosman, second by Councilwoman Lydecker. Open to the public. Seeing no questions, close to the public. Roll call, please.
Councilman Moore?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zapsik?
Abstain on New Jersey Press Media and yes to the rest?
Councilwoman Lydecker?
Yes.
Councilman Fosman?
Abstain on the MUA and yes to the rest.
Vice President DeYoung?
Yes.
President Momolo?
Yes.
Thank you.
Bill Resolution Manual 2015.
Be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Brick that the following bills be paid and that the mayor and clerk be and are hereby authorized to draw orders on the treasurer for the amounts of the same. Manual bill resolution in the amount of $1,578,606.99.
Any questions from the council? Seeing none. Motion and a second.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Vice President DeYoung, second by Councilwoman Zapsik. Open to the public. Seeing no questions, roll call.
Councilman Moore?
Abstain township payroll, yes to the rest.
Councilwoman Zapsik?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lydecker?
Yes.
Councilman Fosman?
Yes.
Vice President DeYoung?
Yes.
President Momolo?
Yes. Public comments. Please note any person addressing the council during any section of the meeting, during which public comment is permitted shall limit his or her remarks to 5 minutes pursuant to Brick Township Administration Code 2-33B. Who wants to be first?
Good evening. My letter. John Sluka, 950 Sylvia Court, Brick, New Jersey. Mayor John Ducey, Council President Paul Momolo, Brick Township Council, and basically all the concerned citizens of Brick. During the last 2 weeks, the NJTA has had various trucks, construction vehicles, digging equipment and brush removal operation working about a half mile north of this thing we saw this morning, earlier at exit 91. Soon they will be opening the high-speed exit lane on the parkway and removing that 3-foot barrier that has lowered some of the noise, but it hasn't impacted at all, really, the pollutants that have been pushing from those trucks and cars. This obviously is only a small, Garden State, what you see there is only a small percentage of what the real soot is, but it's a sign how much, if you go to look at it, how much could be buried into the lungs of the citizens of Brick Township residents, because NJTA wants to pay its construction associates hundreds of millions of dollars and will not spend a couple of $1 million on saving the lives of Brick citizens. I am sending this letter to remind you of the situation in Brick Township impacting all of our residents. Many residents of Brick, and in particular Evergreen Woods, have been appealing to the NJTA to do something about the pollution, but they're generally ignored. Until the commission and directors of NJTA have real orders on the held responsible state officials for the diesel toxins that they continually dump on children and adults of Brick Township and all of Ocean County residents, they will continue to ignore the working class people here in Brick Township. I believe at the last meeting of the council, the residents of Brick were told that a representative who was here today would come before the council and, and try to talk about how they harmed the thousands of residents' lungs. But again, they split it up. Standing before the council, almost laughable, because they want to do what they're going to do to what they want to do to everybody. They'll make excuses, twist the facts, which they did, you saw, and try to deflect a lot of things onto each other, pointing fingers in all different directions, basically. The county representatives already tipped their hands as to who they feel responsible for when they did things in the past, and it's not the citizens, it's the almighty dollar. The county representatives wouldn't even give the council originally a firm date. They just said, we can't make this one, we'll make it in February. If we can't make February, we'll make March. They were here today, and I applaud them for at least showing up. Although, again, nothing was going to change based on what they already knew and what we already knew. Those maps, we already had them. I've had them for months, and I think I showed the council them 2 years ago. But meanwhile, elderly citizens suffer lung ailments, children miss school with asthmatic conditions, and the general public had just a little more toxins pushed into their lungs and into their hearts by these diesel truck toxins. NJTA will not do anything about it, and the representatives were put into power by the donations of big business or big construction companies or whatever it is, and that's who they account to. The directors and commissioners were rewarded for their positions because of the donations that either their companies or their associates gave. If you want to be sickened by the destruction on Garden State Parkway, just ride by. Take a look at mile marker 94, that temporary barrier that has helped some of the noise. You could see the soot on it. Though that soot gets into everybody's lungs every day. Whether you live 100 feet away, 1,000 feet away, or a half mile away, a wall, a pollution wall, will block a percentage of that. The danger of trucks rolling into the Evergreen Woods proved the other day. We just had a truck with oil dumped, basically ruin a river down in down south because the oil tanker fell over, something that nobody anticipated and will never happen. Well, guess what? Things like that do happen. The danger of truck rolling into the community is possible, especially at these exit ramps, that they have now high-speed exit ramps. Since no one wants these pollutants dumped into their dumped on them every day, something needs to be done, and a sound and pollution barrier needs to be put in. It's reasonable and logical to do that. If the county believes they have a better alternative, they've had a couple of years to do it. They're now saying their project will be over 2 more years, and they haven't come up with an alternative. It's also turned to go beyond the letter writing and make calls to the governor, state representatives, and law firms to get the NJTA to do the right thing. Do the right thing. It's beyond a reasonable time for Brick Township governor to find a way around the asinine regulation of the state and install those trees that at least that's a being to buffer the sound and noise of the residents. Sorry, I took back an extra 10 seconds from last time. Thank you.
Thank you. Ma'am?
Evening, Michelle Spector at Evergreen Woods. I just want to remind you that we will be at the Turnpike Authority meeting on February 24th. We will have with us a scientist who's going to challenge the DEP's authority to build the basins, and we're going to attempt to prove that not only do they not have the authority to do that, but that the Turnpike Authority will be holding the bag and that they will have broken the law. This is what we're hoping to prove. So anybody in the public or whatever that wants to come, just be there, I guess not by 9, and sign in.
9 a.m.?
Yeah, February 24th. If it gets canceled and it gets reappointed 2 days later, Thursday, we're going to go on that Thursday. But it's on Tuesday, February 24th. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Ma'am?
Melanie Briggs. I've heard a lot of comments regarding illnesses and seniors demising much sooner than we want to go. Is there any place that I can see these studies or see these reports? I'm under doctor's care, so I'd like to know what I should be being treated for now before I do die.
Before you do die, I'm not aware of any of those reports. As far as from the pollutants, I don't know of any.
Where are these statements coming from then that have no background?
I don't have an answer for you on that. That's public comments, so the people come up with their, with their statement.
Well, I think it's kind of foolish for people to be able to come up here and say that young children are going to die, old people are going to die, and have nothing to back it up. I mean, we're all going to die, that's for sure. But I listen to it week after week, and I would really like to see where these statements are coming from. I do live not that far from the Parkway. So if they can't back it up with reports, I would respectfully request that the council ask them to stop saying it. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir?
Stephen Brill, Evergreen Woods. I have answered you. I have answered that question. I have given reports to the council, the last council, the prior council, from the various agencies, federal agencies and other agencies, regarding the health consequences of diesel pollution. I know, because I gave them to you, and you made copies for every member of the council and the mayor. So you can't say that you don't know. You didn't get it. You did get it.
I don't recall receiving it. We do get a lot of paperwork. I'm sure we could dig it up for the woman that's interested in getting it. We could get that information. I'm sure someone must have it then. Thank you.
All right.
Sir?
I just want to say what a fine job snow plowing has done in the last couple of weeks. And forget my prayers to the snow god, it's not working, so I'm stopping that right now. We like to get up here and tell everybody when things aren't going well, but I like to get up once in a while and tell them when they are going well. I live down on the water, Drum Point Road, Mandalay, Cedar Island, and we used to getting plowed later in the day, which I understand, we're off the beaten path. But the last couple of snowstorms, my cul-de-sac has been plowed in the morning, at least one time down and one time back, and then they come back a little later and dress it all out, and thank you for that. And also today, after the plows went through the first time, I went out and shoveled my driveway, and then here comes the plow again, and I went, oh no. All right, he's just doing his job, just let him go, that's okay, I can handle it, I'm retired. And what I never thought of, but he did, I hope he did it for everybody, because he did it for me when I was standing there. When he approached my driveway, he straightened the plow out, pushed the snow across the driveway, and then angled it back to the curb again. And I went, and I blew him kisses. These were not town people, by the way, they were contractors, they were landscapers, and I didn't catch the name, but they're doing a good job, and I appreciate it, so thank you. And I hope that I'll never see them again.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Sir?
Jim Cancel, Maple Leaf Park. I want to hand these out to you.
Sure.
May I?
Is something we need to, while you're going to be discussing, or something we need to look
Yeah,
at
it's
later? Okay,
important. Yeah,
that's
I
fine,
think we
yep.
want it. Basically, I guess the question for me, maybe some others, is what do you do when you feel like the town council or the municipality is not doing its job? What do you do? What's a remedy you have? And I found that this court case in Point Pleasant, an appeals court case, municipal zoning inaction leads to mandamus. I know we have lawyers here. And it says, a recent New Jersey appeals court decision may make it easier for litigants to obtain writs of mandamus against New Jersey municipalities. A mandamus is a court order directing government official or agency to properly fulfill their official duties. I have issues with the code enforcement, real issues. And based on what that man said last time, that he did a public information request and nobody was fined in Maple Leaf. I know there are violators there. I know numerous violators, both with the HVAC systems, with other things. And how's that possible? I paid $374 to have my unit inspected because I put a heat pump in there. And I did it the right way. I didn't run lines 3 feet down and put a condenser on the ground. I spent $8,000 and I paid $374. Not only that, the neighbor next to me, how did they get a CO when the wrong person had the CO listed? The place is a pigsty. My son went in there this week. It's barely inhabitable. How is this possible? Let's look at some of the correlations here in Point Pleasant. A Point Pleasant residents, John Mullen and Howard Levine, alleged municipal inaction was placing their beach property and surrounding sand dunes at risk. I say the same thing about municipal inaction and code enforcement is placing Maple Leaf, possibly others, but I don't know them, their quality of life and whatever goes along with that at risk. I allege that today to this council. For 13 years, the plaintiffs allegedly complained to municipal officials in Point Pleasant Beach that the owners of the hotel were expanding Driftwood's business operations. I'm going to go on. They further maintained municipal officials ignored their numerous complaints and failed to take any corrective action or enforcement against the hotel. After their complaints were not addressed, obviously they took them to court. I want to go to the court's ruling because they probably lost in the district court and won in the appeal. The appellate court ultimately found the plaintiffs presented concrete evidence establishing a pattern of indifference by the municipal officials charged with enforcement of the local zoning and beach protection. I see that. It's clear as day. As highlighted by the court, the homeowners demonstrated they repeatedly complained to these officials that Driftwood was expanding and intensifying its business activities. You know there are landlords there, although from this awareness that's been raised here, some have really come in fearing what was going to happen. But you know there's still those dug in like ticks. And I'll tell you why. Because I didn't have to go get my HVAC inspected. I moved the closet, I put plumbing in, didn't change any electric. I didn't have to do that. And nobody would be the wiser, would they? And I see that you have down there that for an inspector to rip something out, there has to be probable cause. But the reality of it is nobody knows anything. So I did it out of conscience. I did it because it was the right thing to do, and I did it because I've come here before you and want to be an example. But not everybody, most of them don't want that. And it is the law. Accordingly, the appeals court held, absent this mandamus action, local property owners like Jim Cancel are left without recourse to protect their properties in the face of municipal indifference. It further found that it was reasonable to relax a 40, forget that. the important public interest in ensuring that public officials perform their official duties diligently and with reasonable dispatch. I'm asking you, can you really say with a clear conscience that their code enforcement is doing that in relation to what I'm asking? Can you sit here and tell me they are? Can anybody here do that? Because I can tell you they're not. And I know I'm not asking for someone's resignation, but I'm telling you that there's got to be some accountability here, some real accountability, because it's just flat out wrong.
Thank you, Mr. Kitzel. When you see something, you can pick up the phone and call the code officials and report stuff that's going on that you think
I do. I have called in, my neighbor underneath me, the bottom floor, put in a gas unit with a pipe that goes outside. And when I was putting in my unit, the guy who helped me is the operations chief for the facilities in Hunterdon Medical Center. And he saw that that was in danger of, it didn't have the ground clearance. What do you need,
Right.
18 inches? Something like that? So if snow backed that up, there was going to be carbon dioxide in there. I told him about it. Nothing's been done. That's pretty serious, actually, aside from the other things. I would like Mr. Moore to come with me one Saturday when it's convenient with him, and we'll walk through the.
I've been over there quite a few
We'll walk
times,
through the
right?
complex.
I know
What do you see?
exactly what you're talking about. I know.
Okay.
Those are exhausts. That was an exhaust system over there.
That was a.
So that's a snow drift, and that's what happens. But the systems are the newer systems. I don't want to get into it, but the newer systems have safeties to, if that were to happen, the system was shut down on safety. But you're right. You're right.
I mean, these are things that are wires running all over. I called, but you got to get out and drive through. What? You're losing money. I'm going to come back if nobody.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Sir?
Dr. Fenimore, 137 Queen Anne Road, Brick, New Jersey. In a little possible help regarding Maple Leaf and other condo developments that are highly rental properties, reviewing New Jersey law, landlord-tenant law, there's a lot of ordinances there that require, as far as disturbing a peace, drugs. There's things that tenants can do to file complaints, to bring charges against the landlord himself, as well as the corporation. In addition to that, further research across the United States in itself, a lot of townships are now passing what's called nuisance costs back to the landlord, back to the management corporation. Basically, 3 strikes, you're out. If you're the homeowner and you rent that property, you get 12 calls, less than in a 12-month period, you get 3-4 calls, you're going to lose your property. Town takes it, resells it, or turns into a profit to put the funds back to the town. The landlord will be fined. From the moment the officer goes out, gets that call, his hours becomes the bill of the landlord. It's a loud and clear message.
Well aware of
We're
that
looking
one.
at that one.
Land,
That's-
actually, which is a good point. you
That's a
brought up.
nuisance.
Actually, land use and public safety both have that ordinance right now. And I can't, our counselor will address it, but
Right.
we're fine tuning, we're working on.
Another area is called the cost of recovery ordinance. Again, the police department can back charge that homeowner for allowing, because as a landlord or a corporation, you would advise your tenants, doesn't matter which section or where they come, that if drugs is illegal, you cause the problem, the town is called, dispatched, you get a warning. Second time, you get a fine. Third time, you lose your property.
Right.
So these are just some things, again, there's just some areas to look into. I've looked into a lot of stuff the past couple of weeks, but just some other areas to push.
Yep.
And again, that the residents of those units also have a choice. They can file complaints personally and go after the landlord or go after the corporation. So this way they don't have to feel that it's the
out of
burden of
our
the town.
hands.
They also
Sure,
can step
they can
into
take action.
Yes, and in addition to that action, that once they have enough cases built, then the town can even push further. And in addition to, regardless if the property's sold quickly and moved to another corporation, they're warned right up front. This property's been identified, 3 previous owners in 12 months, you have 1 shot. After that, you can lose your property.
Right.
You turn the property over to the housing authority, because a lot of people need homes.
Sure. Thank you.
Just an idea.
Thank you.
Hopefully it'll help some of the people, but it's not just for Maple Leaf. We have a population with 95,000 and growing. Once the rest of the condos and the townhomes come in,
There's other problem areas.
it's about the big picture, not just one development. It's all
Nope.
developments.
And that's
the
what
new
we have
developments
to
coming.
consider when we look at something. We have to look at the town in whole. We just can't single in on a specific
Well, we're
area.
becoming closer to a city.
Yeah.
Real close, so it's more or less not just the town, because we're going forward to the future, 10 years out.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Council. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Jim Cancel, Maple Leaf Park. I noticed in the Asbury Press, I believe it was a Wednesday, might have been the 2nd, that there was a paper on Ocean County's waging a five-point plan against drugs. Familiar with that, Chief? All right. Well, the first part was going after dealers, not addicts, targeting opiate dealers, the true predators. The second part, and this is what I want to focus on a little bit, strict liability. Overdose death is treated as a homicide. Mr. Coronado says he uses full resources of his office to track the drugs to the dealer. We know that Maple Leaf, there may be, I'm sure there's others, but Maple Leaf has a high density of drug investigations going on there right now. Does that mean that, in this it says the apprehended suspect is charged with the victim's death? Once Mr. Coronado uses full resources to trace back who sold those drugs, wherever they came from, the apprehended is charged with the victim's death. So that means, you know what we have in Maple Leaf? We have a lot of potential people that could cause a homicide and be charged with a victim's death. And I don't know if we really understand that and devote the resources. And it's not just Maple Leaf, but can someone tell me of an area where there's 379 units with a higher density of drug investigations? I'd like to know it. I'd like the chief to say, if there's another area in Brick, that is.
There are other areas. Maple Leaf's not the only.
Not the highest proportion. I'm
Still
sure there
have
are.
other areas. There are other areas, trust me.
So, Ocean County's going to do this. I guess I want to know, where does Brick stand in tandem with this? Are we on board with this? Is this something, or is this just an Ocean County thing, Coronado, and Brick's going to go on and because it looks like containment to me, a policy of containment. It really does. And the third part is they're going to do surprise drug raids at a high school in Ocean County each month. K-9 units and other law enforcement personnel, they use this word, I love it, descend. They're going to descend on schools. I've asked for that. I got told we don't want to do it. And then education, of course. You know, I stand here, I come up here, you know why I really come up here? I'm not a lawyer. I don't think I'm a brilliant man. But I know I go before my God every day, and I read my Bible, and I know that the pure in heart will see God. And I ask him for it all the time, because that's what I want. I want a pure heart. But I stand here because of Romans 2:20. It says, because in the law, Paul was speaking to the Jews, because in the law you have the formulation of knowledge and truth. And I know that if I keep my heart right with God, when I got a situation I got to deal with, I'll have what I need for knowledge and truth. And there was a movie I saw called Mountains of the Moon. Two men, friends, they were competing to see who could find the Nile River, the source of the Nile River. But they ended up being at odds. And there was something said in that movie that shocked me. I never let it go. It says, in the absence of truth, I value loyalty. You see, you sit here as a committee, and a man was threatened to be escorted out because he used the Inspector General's name. That's loyalty, but I'm not sure there's truth behind it. If truth is presented, all I ask is that you just go with the truth, regardless of who you're responsible for or what's involved. That's real valor. I hope to see that. I really do. I'm going to leave you with this. Let every soul be subject unto the higher powers, for there is no power but of God. The powers that are ordained be the powers that be are ordained of God. Whosoever therefore resisteth the power resisteth the ordinance of God, and they that shall resist receive themselves damnation. For rulers, you are a quasi-judicial body, that is a ruling body, are not a terror to good works, but to the evil. Wilt thou then not be afraid of the power? Do that which is good, and thou shalt have praise of the same, for he is the minister of God to thee for good. But if you do that which is evil, be afraid, for he beareth not the sword in vain. For he is a minister of God, a revenger to execute wrath upon him that doeth evil. I think I see in this country that paradigm shifting. We're trying to be friends to those who do evil. I'll finish with this. Wherefore you must needs be subject, not only for wrath, but conscience sake.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the public? Seeing none, I will close public.
Mr. Council President, could I just discuss, it's been a little bit of an allegation of not doing much. I just want to point out, we instituted the Junior Explorer Program. We saw a bunch of the kids here today. Most of them are based upon police camp graduates, and it's to get the kids involved early. We, the council and the mayor, along with the police department, have doubled the DARE program. We we touch 950 to 1,000 fifth graders a year, again, getting early intervention on those kids. We reinstated the SET team, the Special Enforcement Team, which mainly focuses on gang activity. There is reduced crime because of that. They're out there in the open air. Over the last 5 to 6 years, there is less crime because now out in the parking lot of Maple Leaf, there's not as much crime going on. That crime is now happening in the units because of the great work that our SET team has done out there. We instituted the Lead and Seed program, which is for the 6th, 7th, and 8th graders of our great town. Councilwoman Zapsik has gone through the PAL mentoring program through reinstituting the BMAC program, and that PAL mentoring is going to be part of a grant. It'll start later on in the summer. There was a case that our Brick Police took care of where 37 people who were supplying heroin to Maple Leaf and other sections of town were arrested by our great police department. Our police department works in conjunction with the Ocean County Sheriff, the U.S. Marshal Service, the State Police, the Secret Service, the FBI, Toms River, Lakewood, Brick, Ocean County Sheriff, their special teams. They do drive-bys through there. The Ocean County Narcotics Strike Force, the ATF, the Ocean County Sheriff does warrants for us. There's a countywide CAD system that's going to go into place, which is going to help organize all these great departments together. We instituted the Special Police, the Booking Officer Program, that puts more officers on the street rather than be here in the police department. We instituted the Court Security Program, which puts more officers on the street instead of sitting here frisking people for metal going into municipal court. Another member of our community outside of us, Reverend Jim Kelly, he has instituted an after-school program at Maple Leaf. There's definitely a way. You cannot arrest your way out of the problem. All these things together are what this mayor, this council, this police department, our town, our county, our state, our U.S. Marshal Service, et cetera, has doing for this problem. You can't arrest your way out of it. It's got to be a multifaceted approach. We have approached Maple Leaf. We've asked, please do a neighborhood watch program. There was a program set up. One person showed up for it. Outside Maple Leaf and the surrounding streets, we had a person come here to the council and say, no damn neighborhood watch. And the last thing is we had the bylaws. The bylaws is where you can attack your association. And I haven't heard any update on the bylaws. So those are the things that we need from you. We need the neighborhood watch. We need the bylaws looked at. We need those changed. Land use, public safety, they're all working on ordinances. I'm sure there's going to be an ordinance introduced in the month of March which addresses this issue further. But to say that we have done absolutely nothing, I just named a few things. I don't want to take any more time because I know we're getting to the end of the night. But that's absolutely false that we've done nothing. I find it insulting. I think every member of the council, the police department, and all around the county should find it insulting. We're doing everything we can. We're going to do more. We're going to continue to do more. It's an important issue. We haven't sat back and done nothing. We've done a lot. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor. I'll open up council, the comments to our administrator, business administrator.
No further comments. That says it all. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor, would you like to have some comments? Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Couple changes that we've made to, since January 1st of 2014. One was to the building department. We got stuck as of December 31st of 2013 without any inspectors. Toms River had a shared services appointed time, which went away as of that date. So January 1st, I became mayor. We had no inspectors in town. So we had to go through a hiring process and interview process. Unlike the old days, we actually do interviews, and we were able to pick out some great inspectors. But I'm proud to announce tonight, the building department saw a profit for the first time since 2008. The department generated $400,000 more than expenses this year. The state has been helpful with that. They provided us with a plumbing inspector, a plumbing plan reviewer, a building inspector, a building plan reviewer, and an electrical inspector. The assistance is crucial because without this, we would have increased costs, and all those state inspectors are only dealing with Sandy issues. So it is the first time since 2008, and we actually made $400,000 in the department. Another change we made was to the animal control officer, and I just want to let you know about a great program that he has in place, that the company has in place. If you go to Facebook, it's called A Academy Animal Control Lost Found Pets. And what they do is when they retrieve a pet, they actually take a picture of it, they post a picture of it on Facebook, and they say where they found the pet. So for example, you'll see there was a dog that was found somewhere here in Brick. They posted a picture of it, and before the dog even made its way out to the shelter, somebody was able to claim the dog, and the dog went back to its rightful owner. There was a lost cat somewhere in Birchwood Park. He posted the picture of the cat, saying, if you find this cat, here's the owner, who was also somebody else on Facebook. So, the guy obviously cares about animals. He's trying to get them back to the rightful owner, and he's obviously a little less expensive than what we had previously, which is always important, and that's why we went out to bid for it. But to see not only is he less expensive, but actually is doing this extra step in reuniting the animals to their owners, it's a great system. Another change was to our code enforcement. Just everybody, I want to remind everybody, it's a complaint-based system. So if you see something out there, somebody's grass is too long, or more major, somebody's building a garage that shouldn't be, please let our code enforcement know. They will go out there and investigate. And a great thing that we have in place now is called the CRS system. So if you call and you're making a complaint, you say their grass is too long on Hazelwood Road, with an address. Code enforcement, whoever takes that call enters it into a system that gets tracked. So meaning what we do is we see what wasn't responded to at all. And if it takes an extreme amount of time, then there's a problem, that person gets contacted. But if what should be on there is a complaint, long grass, Hazelwood Road, 2 days later, a day later, a couple hours later, however busy the department is, I went out to Hazelwood Road, saw the grass, it was long, I issued a violation, or I went out there, there was no problem, whatever the case may be, but we have a system in place that follows up on every single complaint. So you make a complaint, code enforcement goes out, inspects it, takes a look at it. If that's not done, if there's something missing, we know about it. We know that the person hasn't followed up on it, and then it is followed up on in a number of different ways. Some good things around town. February 4th, they had a legislative day out in Trenton, and I was able to attend it, and I had an important conversation with Commissioner Martin and Assistant Commissioner Richmond, and as a result of that conversation, we're actually getting $1.7 million of our Sandy money honored before this Friday, and I just got that telephone call today. This is, I'll remind you, we have a $3.9 million payment that's due this year for our Sandy debt, and they had only released $165,000 of it. And that was all we're going to be able to do as far as making a payment, because they're supposed to reimburse us 90% of the $3.9 million. So I did go out there, complained about it, said there's a couple different solutions. One is give us our money, two is make some accounting changes. And we're working on both of them, but at least we're getting $1.7 million, which still leaves 2.6 or so. Because we still have to make that payment. So all of us as taxpayers have to make that payment. If the state doesn't release that money to us, we're still making that payment. And obviously, we know where it's coming from if it doesn't come from the state. February 9th, I met with the clergy here in town, representatives of 12 different churches, parishes, temples, etc. And it was a great meeting. They wanted to hear about the different things that are going on in town, and I wanted to hear from them if they had any different concerns. And we exchanged some ideas on a number of different programs, including hopefully finding a clergy member for our BMAC program, which is one of the empty spots that we had. And so it was a great day. February 12th, a Girl Scout troop and a Brownie troop came back to meet me in my offices, and they asked me a bunch of hard questions, including how come one of their fathers is no longer able to ATV out by the midstream school. So I had to answer that because it's illegal. It's actually ruining some of the environment. It's private property, et cetera. And it's dangerous, and it's insurance liability, et cetera. But a number of other great questions, and I always invite any team, class, Girl Scout troop, church group, whatever it is, to come on in, meet the mayor. It's a fun time. Snowstorm, the last snowstorm, which was not the last one. Let's go back to the one before last, which was the Sunday, I guess, Saturday night into Sunday. We didn't receive 4 inches. So I know a couple people, there was like 3 calls when I got here today with messages that their streets weren't plowed, where you were right along with the other 80,000 people in town. Nobody's streets were plowed. We don't plow until there's 4 inches or more of snow. A number of reasons. One, not to ruin the equipment. Number 2, 4 inches, although it may be slippery, it's something that a car can traverse as opposed to something deeper where the cars would get stuck. So there was no plowing at all. We did salt before the snow, and then we salted after the snow was done. And of course, I think I said this last time, it's the whole science issue. It only warms up 10 to 15 degrees. So on Saturday night into Sunday morning, it was 3 degrees or even colder. It was 3 degrees when I went to bed, and I'm sure it got colder overnight, which then, even if you take it to the extreme, makes it 18 degrees, which obviously is still freezing, therefore nothing melts. And then today, the trucks went out there. They were out there at 6:30 a.m. as soon as we hit 4 inches. And they estimated an average storm is 15 hours. They thought it was going to be a little bit less than that because it wasn't. I guess it was a little bit less than average storm. And our trucks, we did 2 shifts from 6:30. Then those guys went home to sleep around 3:30 or 4. New guys took over. They're going out until 9. Then another shift is coming in at 9 o'clock to start salting. So we'll be done totally with the town by 9, and then sending our salt trucks out, because it's supposed to be 12 degrees tonight, it's supposed to be 3 degrees tomorrow, and obviously that's freezing, so we want to get salt down so the sun at least can hit it and try to melt some of this stuff. But hopefully everything will be clear anyway, but the salt will be down. Daddy-daughter dance on Friday night it was a great turnout. It was the first time we've ever done it. I was there with Councilwoman DeYoung, and it was about 73 couples, and it looked like a good time. There was crafts, there was a photo booth, DJ, dancing. Tomorrow night is my radio show, 7 o'clock. It's a live call-in. Please call in with any questions. It doesn't matter what the topic is. We had a crazy question about whether or not a hot dog is a sandwich. We talked about it for a couple minutes. But we also address, obviously, more important needs. So whatever you want to talk about, just give me a call. Or 7 o'clock tomorrow. And it's on Blog Talk Radio. My first Mayor's In night of this year will be Tuesday, February 24th from 6 o'clock in the meeting room across the hall. Some department heads will be there in attendance. February 25th, everybody who's affected by the FEMA maps, the FEMA firm maps have been released. I do have a copy of them. The engineering department has a copy of them. There's a meeting February 25th from 4 to 8 at the courthouse cafeteria in Toms River on Hooper Avenue. And lastly, February 26th, 7 o'clock, the Relay for Life has a kickoff meeting at the Laurelton Firehouse. And I'm hoping to have a town hall Relay for Life team. So any employees who are watching, if you'd like to be part of the team, please contact Ed Maroney or Debbie Murphy about joining the team, and hopefully we'll raise a lot of money for a great cause. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. Counselor?
No. Thank you, Council President. Nothing for me tonight.
Madam Clerk?
Yes, I would like to express my appreciation for the men and women of our Brick Township Police Department.
Thank you.
Today and always, actually. They know how I feel. Thank you.
Madam Secretary? Councilman?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Reaching out to our people in the audience, thank you for coming out on this cold, dreary night. To our Bricktown Fire, our finest men and women, to our police chief for doing a phenomenal job throughout the year. I thank you. Please be safe, and God bless to you and your families. House numbers. It's very important for our police department, our fire departments, our EMS, that your house numbers are seen. either from the street, from the curb. Some people's house numbers are on the curb, your mailbox. With the snow conditions, make sure that we see your street numbers. It's very important for us. Same with the fire hydrants. Please keep them nice and clear. Last night, we had a very big fire in Station Pioneer Hose area. Just want to reach out to all my brother firefighters. It was a great job. The house did collapse around 3 o'clock in the morning. I want to reach out to our DPW workers that came out around 4 o'clock, 4:30, with the backhoes, and they took that house, finishing it, bringing it down to the ground. So our DPW workers are not just, they're out there doing everything side by side with our men and women of our community. With that, please, the weather's cold. Watch your space heaters, please, and drive carefully out there. And thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman?
Thank you. I too would like to express my gratitude and appreciation to the police department and under the leadership of Chief Bergquist. Congratulate Officer Crimmy and Detective Shepard on their recognition. There are a couple of opportunities this week to dine out for a good cause. Tomorrow night there is a fundraiser at Houlihan's to support to help in the fight against MS. It actually supports one of our township employees. It's from 5 to 9 at Houlihan's, and a portion of your dinner proceeds go towards the cause. On a Thursday night, Rebecca's Rescues, which is a local cat rescue service, will be having a similar thing at Boston Market from 4 to 10. And you can download one of the flyers from Facebook, and a portion of the proceeds go towards the rescue. This particular rescue works in conjunction with with any of the local animal shelters that will allow her in to take litters of kittens that are too young to place, that might come in and otherwise be put down. And so she raises them, she bottle feeds them, vets them, and places them in loving homes. So I personally have adopted an animal from her. My daughter just adopted an animal from her, so I'm a grandmother. So I heartily recommend supporting this, and it helps keep the feral cat population down, because every cat that comes to the rescue is spayed or neutered before it's placed. As part of our ongoing work with BMAC and trying to combat the drug problem here, we work very closely with the DART Coalition. They're based out of St. Barnabas. They got a grant this year for targeting for Brick and Toms River to help us with the opiate problem and underage drinking. They will be hosting on Saturday, March 21st from 8 a.m. to noon at Community Medical Center. It is a training for pharmacists. So it's totally free. They do have to register in advance. I'm going to give this to Ed and ask him to see if he can get it up on the webpage and the Facebook page. But if you know any local pharmacists, please pass this information along. As I said, it's a totally free training, and it's basically to help pharmacists to recognize people that are coming in that are with multiple prescriptions and doctor shopping, and it's also an overview of the prescription monitoring program, which right now is voluntary for physicians, but there is legislation pending to make it mandatory for physicians to participate in it. And so, if you know any pharmacists, please pass that on. We were supposed to have another BMAC open mic night on what I thought was February 27th. So unfortunately, I had the wrong date. The error was totally mine. It was supposed to be this Friday night. So as a result of the mix-up, we are going to cancel the February open mic night. If you know anybody that was planning on coming, tell them not to bother to come out, and one would sure to be a cold night if this cold spell continues. And we will pick up again in March on the 27th, 7 p.m. at Civic Plaza, and that's open to all our young talent, grades 6 through 12. And we have a BMAC meeting Monday night here at 7 o'clock. All are welcome. And that's all I have this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilwoman?
Thank you. Congratulations to our students of the month. I was a little disappointed to see that only one turned out, but as in bowling, one is better than none. And I hope all the kids enjoyed their snow day, because spring is going to come soon, and hopefully the snow days will come to an end. It's a really great thing to have Police Appreciation Week. I love the banner that's hanging up. But it also gives us time to pause and think about what our law enforcement does for us every day, on a daily basis, and be able to appreciate everything they do for us every day. They reach out to our community groups, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, our senior communities, educate them on a whole list of things. They help parents and schools educate our children against crime and drugs. And, they're usually, if not always, the first people we call when we see trouble. We don't hear about the things they do every day, all their major crime busts and all the lives that they save. But thank you to our mayor for outlining it for us and reminding us again that they do lots of things that we don't know about and don't see in the newspapers. Also, people might not realize this, but like when Sandy hit, when we have major emergencies, they're our first line of defense to keep us safe and protect our quality of life. So although we're, saying Police Appreciation Week, we have to remember these things every day. So I like to remind people to please put up your blue ribbons, put out your blue lights, so they know that you're thinking of them too. Just like how they're driving on the road protecting us, thinking of our safety every day, we're also thinking about them, putting their lives on the line to serve and protect our community. And congratulations to our Patrolman of the Year, Officer Creamy, and also to our McNellis Award recipient, Detective Shepard. Thank you so much for all your hard work and dedication. And that's all I have for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Thank you, Council President. I'd just like to say to the seniors there, there's been some phone scams going around. I had it come to my house telling me to enter codes into my computer or my computer will crash. I just want to let the seniors know not to listen to them phone calls. I was surprised they even called the police station over here to ask them if there's been a lot of people calling in for that, and there wasn't that many. I'd just like to let all the commercial businesses know that they need to recycle, and if you're not recycling, it's time to start now. Our recycling coordinator is letting everybody know in those commercial businesses by a flyer or going to the business, they must recycle. It is the law, you must recycle. And we have 732 commercial businesses out there. And not all of them are recycling. We need them we're gonna really focus on that to get them to recycle. Received another 600 tons of salt since the last council meeting. And I'd just like to say that some of the rebates, we had, the township has started labeling dumpsters and encouraging recycling. Our first priority is to label dumpsters, and when it gets a little warmer, we're gonna start again doing that, and the recycling has increased in those condo developments, townhomes, it has increased. The township, another thing, the township saved more than $190,575 as a result of having garbage collection done in-house compared to the contract with Waste Management when they used to pick up from the condo units. So we did save quite a bit just doing it in-house, so that's $190,000. And recycling revenue shared with the county from January to June was $55,460. That was only for the first 6 months. The revenue for the county when they do the recycling has dropped. It used to be like 12 cents, now it's way down, real low. But we are recycling, we are doing a lot better. So the total savings was $246,035. I'd just like to say for the snow plowing, the Public Works doing a great job out there. There's 390 miles of roads in our town, so you gotta look at it. They have to do both sides of the road, so it's like doing it twice. So that's why it takes a while to get that done. We have, it's been in the paper that the low to medium income housing rebuilding program provide reconstruction and rehabilitation to home elevations funds for low to moderate income homeowners whose storm damaged primary homes was located in one of 9 counties. So Ocean County is getting money for this last bit going out there. It's for low to moderate income. If your home was not substantially damaged, but you incurred over $8,000 in damage, or more than 1 foot of water on your first floor, you are encouraged to apply for this. The deadline is March 4th, and I do have a website here. I'm just going to say it. It's www.renewjersey-stronger.org/homeowners/IMI-homeowners-rebuilding-program. So that's the website for this to apply for this grant. The building department, I am ecstatic. In 2012, we got elected. I was one pushing for that program to get our inspectors back. I'm just ecstatic the way it's been working out, and that we actually did break even or a little bit more, but that'll work out because you get the money ahead of time and then you go do the inspections. So that'll work out just great. I went to Challengers Bowling on Saturday. The mayor was there. We were handing out trophies to the kids there, and that was a nice event. And the Maple Leaf, sometimes you got to help yourselves. There's bylaws. If you guys can get together at Maple Leaf, go over your bylaws that you have and to correct what's wrong in there. You have a lot of power if you use these bylaws and help yourselves in that aspect. The town's doing as much as we can. We're gonna work, like the mayor said, in March. We're gonna come out with something from land use for the renters there, so that we can go after the landlords that are doing this. But there's other programs that the mayor said too that's going on. So, but you have to help yourselves sometimes. You're coming here, maybe you should organize there and try to get everybody together to go over your bylaws and find out what you can do for yourselves in the bylaws. That's all I have. Thank you.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Just check. Vice President?
Thank you. Again, I want to thank our police officers for keeping us safe. And it was actually Fast Signs that donated the banner that we have out here in Town Hall. So I'd like to thank them also. And Chief, I look forward to the capital budget and the updated facilities that is much needed here. So I look forward to all of that. And I haven't seen the plans, so I would like to see them. And then thank you to Frank Scarantino and the county for coming out and discussing the Burnt Tavern interchange. Sitting up here for the past couple of years, I know that it's not possible to make everybody happy, so I thank you for coming here and just letting us know the status of where everything is for that project. Mr. Finelli, I agree with you that the DPW is doing a great job with our roads, and I want to thank the mayor, the administration, the chief, the police, all of DPW. The guys just do a phenomenal job. And I want to echo a little bit of what the mayor said. We do need 4 inches of snow before we start plowing. I read made the mistake of reading the Facebook comments about some of the plowings. I know you can't make everybody happy all the time. We are doing our absolute best. The mayor said it before, we have over 1,700 roads in the town, and like Councilman Fosman said, they have to go up and back. And when we take the first pass through with the plow, we just do go down the center of the road, and then we come back to clean it all up. So please be patient. We know everybody has to get to work. I need to get to work. It's just something that we have to deal with in the winter, unfortunately. So, but the guys are doing a great job, and the mayor and is doing a great job leading everybody. So thank you. That's all I have. No buying brick. I'm sorry.
Thank you. I'd like to congratulate all the students of the month. Sorry they didn't come out today, but understandable. They didn't have school. It wasn't on their mind. Police Appreciation Week. Thank you, police officers, everybody. Chief, great job. Richard Crimmy, Officer of the Year. Jason Shepard, his award. Congratulations. Ocean County Engineers for their presentation. Awesome. A lot of questions that were related more towards the turnpike, which they really don't control. Department of Public Works did a great job with the snowplow. Keep up the good work. Everybody stay warm. We're against the cold weather. The next meeting is going to be Tuesday, March 3rd, 7 p.m. I'd like to get a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting.
Motion. Second.